Hello YouTube, it's Atticus and welcome to High Elf Week. Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. I know Luca's going to be really excited, but yeah, High Elf Week is here, guys. So we're going to be doing a whole week of High Elf games. I have like 7 of them already saved, really good ones. And I figured we would start with a very popular matchup against the Dwarfs. And yeah, a lot of people feel like this favors the Dwarfs, but I think I found a couple reliable ways in which you could deal with them. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and jump into it, guys. So I'm actually going to do 2 games against Dwarfs. I have 2 saved. One of them was with Tyrion, and one of them is going to be with Illyrio the Radiant. So let's go ahead and jump into the builds, guys. So for the Lord, of course, we do have Illyrio the Radiant. And yeah, I mean, my thought process for her would be the mobility and just for the heals. Since I'm going kind of a small elite army, I need to keep these guys alive. I don't have a lot of shaft units, and the reason I didn't take shaft units is because Dwarfs have a strategy. The way they usually deal with like spearmen and things like that is they'll just blasting charge you into oblivion. So the idea is to remove that from the equation. Take units that are not going to take that much damage from mining blasting charges, such as White Lions, and yeah, she'll just be able to heal them. So we're going more of elite army. We're going to be kind of a Death Star, and we're going to be healing. So I have the Star of Avalorn. I have Earthblood. I have Banishment just for the armor-piercing damage. Now, if he does group up, I could get off a Banishment, and it'll actually do some surprising damage. And you guys can see I have False Protection, so that is my Lord. For my secondary Lord, guys, we are taking the Lord Master of Hoeth, and we just stripped him down. Since I already have the magic from Illyrio, I didn't take any of his spells. I just want him for the armor piercing and the anti-infantry bonus. You can see right here, he does have the thing that gives him a little bit of melee defense and speed, which will come in handy. But yeah, you just mix him in here with these White Lions, and he will give the Encourage trait. So we have 4 White Lions in total, guys. We do have a couple Spearmen. I did have some money left over. I did put one in the front, and this is just to absorb any cannons, artillery, and things like that. Hopefully these guys could be like the pincushion of the faction. You can see I do have another spearman over here just to pad out the numbers, and then we do have a Lothran Sea Guard. And these guys, the reason I take them is to deal with Slayers. These guys will hopefully just be able to shoot down Slayers on my opponent's back line and do a lot of damage. And you can see Illyrio is on her Eagle, which will give me some mobility. I could kind of dive into the back line, shut down range units and things like that, and it's a really good strategy. Over here, guys, I have 1 bolt thrower, and the bolt thrower you take just to shut down artillery. It's kind of like your insurance policy. Your opponent will have to force micro or force his artillery to either shoot it down, which means he's not going to be hitting my army, and it puts a little bit of pressure on the faction that's already slow and doesn't really have a way of shutting it down. But the real cool thing is, of course, the noble guys, and I took this noble pretty beefed up. You can see I do have the Armor of the Stars, which is going to give me stalk, which means I could kind of sneak into my opponent without him hitting me. He won't even see it, and I do have Deadly Onslaught and Foe Seeker. But the really cool part of the army, guys, is the gray. So I recently watched the Wyvern's tier list on the High Elves. I'll link it in the description. But he was talking about the gray, and he put them on, I think, like the F or D tier, because these guys are so overpriced. But they do have one good role, one thing that I do agree with him, and which is shutting down artillery. So yeah, you put these guys on an artillery duty, have them trying to focus down these artillery pieces, and they can pretty much snipe it before your opponent can get into combat to shut them down. And these guys do have stalk, they do have the Master Ambusher trait, and they do have Loic Shroud. So I mean, these guys are going to be a real nuisance for my opponent to shut down. The only option he's going to have is to try to shoot them. And then, guys, I do have an Illyrian Reaver over here. These guys, hopefully, are just going to be trying to find an opening. And the whole idea is just to shut down the artillery. So that is my build for my opponent, guys. He has a very scary ranged Dwarven army. It's pretty much in the meta. If you saw my last game, you saw what happened when you take too much range units with the Skaven. But yeah, look at this. My opponent took a whole firing line of Thunderers. I think he has, 5 of them in total? 6 Thunderers in total. Some miners of blasting charges here, kind of surrounding. You see he's doing this whole Death Star approach, so he's kind of protected from every angle. He has 2 organ guns. For his lord, he has Belgor Ironhammer, who's going to be really impossible to fight. It's better just ignore him. A couple Longbeards, some Dwarf Warriors, and in the back, some more Dwarf Warriors. So yeah, he just has that line of Dwarf Warriors, Longbeards, and Thunderers, and 2 organ guns. So this is going to be scary. So right off the bat, as Trump said to 2020, hopefully, you can see the gray here is going to start shooting right into the back of this organ gun, and hopefully my opponent won't see it. You can see these guys only have 40 armor, and look at that damage we're already doing. So yeah, this is really good. Usually your opponent's going to be over here looking to see, who's about. You can see I'm going to start moving the bolt thrower here in a second as well, but I didn't want to move. I was being real patient. I was hoping my opponent didn't see this, and boom. Now he is going to start to respawn. He's going to send the miners here to try to shut these guys down, but I'm going to use the Illyrian Reavers to screen for these guys. I'm going to try to just do as much damage as I can to these guys before I retreat. And you can see, yeah, I mean, we're doing some good damage. We have these guys to about half health, but more importantly, even if we don't kill them all, the bolt thrower will. You can see I am going to group up. I'm going to crash into these miners, and all it's going to do is just hold these guys up. It's just buying me more time for the gray. I do use the stalk mechanic right here, and yeah, guys, we're doing some really good damage right here. You can see, though, unfortunately, he still has 4 organ guns, even though we've pretty much destroyed all their units. All it's going to take, though, is a couple bolt throwers to be able to hopefully shut those guys down, though. We're doing a lot of damage to them, and yeah, so now we're going to be kind of forced to retreat. I do believe we get one more volley off. We'll see. Boom. We do kill one model right here. And yeah, guys, that's really good for us. We've pretty much neutered one of the organ guns, and now we're going to be forced to retreat. Now his organ guns are going to start opening up into me, guys, but we should be able to retreat. Taking advantage of all this chaos, you see his formations are a little bit disrupted. I'm going to start to advance. Now we do have this hill right here, which is going to buy me some time. And yeah, you can see that the gray, they haven't lost too much health. I mean, I don't know if it's an even trade, about 1100 or whatever, but I mean, as soon as this bolt thrower comes operational, guys, you will see that we're able to destroy most of these organ guns. And you can see, speaking of which, there it goes. The bolts right here, and boom. The one good thing about the bolt thrower is it excels at shutting down artillery pieces, not the units. Now that the gray is kind of out of damage, I mean, out of range of the miners, we're just going to shoot over here and just start shooting the miners. Might as well. I mean, try to keep these guys from getting their blasting charges off. Now, I think I waited it around a little bit too long. I took a little bit more damage than I needed to, but Illyrio is going to be able to finish the job with a banishment, guys, and that is going to be devastating. Look at that damage. That is a beautiful casting of banishment, and that was from Illyrio. You can see I am going to have to juke a little bit from taking damage, guys, but look how much damage we've been able to cause before the armies have even, got into position right here. You can see this whole time the bolt thrower is just raining in right here, and we are going to effectively shut down one of the bolt thrower pieces. I think he only has like 2 units left, period, but all his pieces are shut down, and we're going to start focusing on the other bolt thrower, or excuse me, organ gun. You can see my micro did slip with Illyrio a little bit. I did take a little bit of damage, but it's alright, guys. I am going to be able to heal myself up. And you can see over here, the Noble is going to have his hidden mechanic, his stalk mechanic, the Armor of the Stars. And I'm just getting him in position. I'm coming around the back flank right here, and I'll hopefully be able to get into the back line. Now, he does have this one organ gun still pretty much operational. He's going to be able to get a little bit of damage, but he's shooting into the Spearmen, which is what I hoped for. It means my White Lions are not taking as much damage. And one thing to keep in mind, guys, these White Lions have 30% missile resistance. So, yeah, I mean, it's almost like having a bronze shield. So, I mean, they're actually surprisingly good against Thunderers and things like that. So now, after that beautiful banishment, guys, you can see the Noble is going to come into here, and boom. This one right here, organ gun, only has, 2 units right here, and this Noble should be able to shut it down. This one still has 4, but there goes the surprise hit. Boom, right into the back of those guys, and that is going to destroy one of the organ guns. So now we're into his artillery pieces. We've disrupted his formation, and things are looking really good. You can see that these blasting charges are going to shred through these spearmen, but yeah, these guys were just shaft units. I'm okay with that. We are going to start advancing, and now his Thunderers are going to be forced to pull back. You can see the Lore Master of Hoeth is going to get into combat. It's going to keep those blasting charges from able to shoot, and now we have the really big mosh pit on our hands. You can see I was able to get these organ guns to run away from their units, and now we've pretty much just effectively shut down all his artillery pieces. Over here, the Gray is still shooting into miners, kind of leading them away, and you can see Lothar Seaguard here has free reign to kind of shoot in. I was targeting the miners just because the Thunderers do have shields, so it's not really good to shoot them. You can see that the Noble is in here with the Star of Avalorn kind of getting healed up, and we're looking really good here, guys. Over on this side, we're holding up 2 of his units. Now, he still does have this little scary pocket of Thunderers right here. He has larger numbers than me, but the balance of power is strongly in my favor. You can see Illyrio is going to land down here, but I have to be careful because this unit right here will be able to provide overwatch, and we're in point-blank range. And look, 1, 2, 3 units, 4 units just melting Illyrio, so that's really unfortunate. I am going to be able to get the Noble in, and it's just I don't have enough troops to shut down all of them, so no matter where I go, I'm going to be able to take some damage. But I'm just waiting for my my White Lions to be able to break his front line. As long as I don't lose my Lord, you can see I'm kind of juking. I'm being really patient. The Bolt Thrower is going to start focusing on these Thunderers, and we should be able to shut them down pretty quickly. as well. You can see the Lothern Sea Guard are going to start shooting into these thunders right here. The good thing about the White Lions being in combat is these guys should be obstructed. They shouldn't take that much damage unless these guys are on a hill. You can see the Noble is getting a really good charge. I'm just trying to avoid Belgar. There's no sense, taking a lot of damage. And fortunately, I am going to be able to get the Spearmen into the back line right here. They're going to be able to get into the Thunderers and shut these guys down. So yeah, we're going to be able to shut down one of those guys. You can see that the Noble is going to get into these Thunders right here. We're shutting him down as well. Belgor is kind of just bouncing back and forth, trying to get my Noble, but I don't want to leave him in combat. I will pull him back here pretty quickly. Bolt Thrower is still at pretty good ammunition, guys. You can see the Grey have used all their ammunition, and now that my opponent's doing a good job of using the Overwatch of all these Thunderers. But yeah, you can see we're starting to break his units right here. The White Lions are starting to bleed through, especially with the support of the Lowmaster of Hoaf. With his big anti-infantry bonus, you can see my opponent is going to use Belgar to try to hold up these White Lions. I'm trying to force path through. We've pretty much broken all his units on the right flank right here, which means the Noble now could get into the back, guys. So we're looking really strong. We do have a balance of power lead. You can see your Lariel is coming in here. She's going to be causing fear with the Eagle. We're going to get a really juicy charge into these Dwarf Warriors. And yeah, the Dwarfs are holding, but we just have so much more of an advantage with armor piercing. My opponent is really relying on all these Thunderers and things like that, but we're doing a good job of shutting them down. You can see the Nobles in here charging. I'm using the Grey, which is going to be able to shut these guys down, and boom, these Thunderers do not have charge defense. And here in the center pocket, guys, we have one. So yeah, the White Lions are going to be able to start charging. You can see that the Lothern Sea Guard are shooting into these miners, and yeah, we'll be able to start shutting these guys down pretty quickly. Now the Noble has been the real MVP for me. You see how I'm just ping-ponging him? I'm not leaving him in combat, guys. You don't want to leave him in sustained combat. You want to get a charge as much as possible. Here in the back, Belgor Ironhammer is going to start fighting amongst the Loremaster of Hoaf, but I do have the support of the White Lions here, and with their armor piercing, we should be able to quickly get through him. The Bolt Thrower is repositioning. Over here, we just have a big lob. This would be a really good Casted of Banishment if I had the Winds of Magic. Same with over here. Things are looking really good for us, guys. You can see I'm going to get another Star of Avalorn. I was trying to get it where it would kind of get the Noble, but yeah, the Noble was a little bit out of the radius, but at least it's going to be healing up these White Lions right here, and we're effectively shutting down all these Thunderers. You can see that he still has this one little unit here, 2 units pretty much, who can still fire, but he doesn't have that many models. And here comes a Noble with another glorious charge right into the face of the Dolly. That's one of the most rewarding things, is to see the Dolly get charged, to get killed. Makes me happy. It makes my day. And now the Grey, they have pretty good combat stats, guys. 43 melee attack. They'll be able to fight Thunderers pretty effectively. But yeah, just watching this Noble do his work is a real joy. You can see that Illyriel is coming into the back. We're just making sure these Thunderers don't return. And now we're using the Bolt Thrower to try to hit this glob here, guys. And they do have armor, anti-infantry bonus, armor piercing, and they'll be able to deal pretty good with Dwarf Warriors. They don't have as much armor and shielding chances like Longbeards and things like that. Over here, the Lore Master has taken a lot of health from Belgar. With his buffs, the Revenge Incarnate, it's giving him 44 melee attack, and he's actually beating on the Lore Master pretty strongly. It really surprised me. The Lothern Sea Guard, though, have just used all their ammunition. I was focusing the miners and things like that, the shaft units, and boom, Belgar is going to be able to break the Lore Master. So that was a little bit surprising, but the Noble is going to come in here and try to help out his companion, breaking those breaking those Dwarf Warriors. And my opponent, yeah, he's in really bad shape. You can see balance of power is just really strongly in my favor. Illyriel still at pretty good health. She still has a little bit of Winds of Magic for some heals, and we've now pretty effectively shut down all his Thunderers, and we're just going to collapse in here for the last engagement. You can see that Longbeards right here are starting to break, and that's going to be army losses and a win for the High Elves. So, yeah, good game to my opponent, guys. That is kind of a cool way which you go about fighting the Dwarfs. So let's go ahead and look at the in-screen breakdown and talk about some of the keys for my success. And, yeah, what was the first thing that comes to mind? White Lions. There's just such a cheap way of dealing with dwarf units. They excel at them, and with that 30% missile resistance, they were more tanky than what you thought. But the real key for my success was shutting down these 2 organ guns. The Grey did a really good job. They were able to pretty much neuter one of the units. They were able to kind of lure his army away, and the Bolt Thrower was able to shut down the other one. The Noble with 181 kills. The Noble and the Chariot is one of the best chariots, period. But with that Cloak of the Stars, or whatever it's called, that makes him stalk, you saw it, guys. He was able to get into the back, do the damage, shut down all his Thunderers and things like that, and it worked really good. Same with the Lothran Sea Guard. They were able to apply damage. They didn't take hardly any damage themselves the whole game. And the Lore Master of Hoa stripped down was a surprisingly cost-effective way of just having a little bit more muscle in the center pocket, even though he did get beat by Belgar. So, all right, guys, welcome to High Elf Week. I hope you enjoyed that one, High Elves versus Dwarfs, and I will see you on the next one. All right, have a good night. Bye-bye.